Hi, my name is Asia, and I am here to talk to you today about Mardi Gras. Um, this is Remnant Walk, and I am not about to give like a history, like that kind of thing about Mardi Gras, because my whole channel, my goal is to talk about the walk, the day to day living. How are you walking out this walk? And Mardi Gras has been on my heart and mind, mainly because I live in New Orleans and it's all around me. I can't get away from it, not at work, not anywhere. Um, it's everywhere. And it's in the schools, it's everywhere. So I wanted to talk about it. Um, you know, I think most people, the main thing they experience is the parades. There's much more to it. There's the balls, there's parades, there's all kinds of things that, everybody doesn't necessarily participate in. I guess it depends on how much money you have and what, if you belong to one of the crews. But I mean, any participation in it is not pleasing to y'all. I can tell you that. Um, and anyway, I wrote down some of the names of some of the crews. Uh, there's Bacchus, who is supposedly the god of wine and revelry. There are the Druids, Poseidon, Ocean, who's supposed to be a deity of fresh water and love and fertility. Olympia, which is supposed to be the temple of Zeus. Nemesis. Um, when I looked up Nemesis, it says the Greek goddess of divine retribution and vengeance. How about that? Yah says vengeance is his. Femme fatale. Um, Knights of Chaos. Knights of Babylon. Crew of Hermes. Morpheus. Isis. Athena. Atlas. Proteus. Orpheus. The list goes on and on. And so I just wanted to, just come on here and talk about it. These things are not just, harmless fun. They are not. It is a type of worship. It is what y'all would refer to as whoredom. These are some of the things that he would want us to stay away from. And I found myself the other day looking at the news, and they were showing kids, marching in parades and everything. And I just have to say this. I did participate in this for years, especially as a teacher. One of the schools that I used to work at, they would march in parades every year. And as a teacher, I used to have to chaperone. At that point, I was not in the way. I was just Christian, and I didn't know. So, you may see old photos of me at a parade. But, is over the years I've grown, and once you know better, you do better. So I've stopped participating in those things. It's been some years now. But yeah, so one thing that I wanted to note is that the praise hands. When you are at the parade, you all throw me something, mister. Those are praise hands. Those are praise hands. Anybody with an iPhone and they have the symbols, those are praise hands, And it is a form of worship. I mean, even if you say, okay, well, I'm going to go and I'm not going to do the hands. No, your mere presence, your mere willful attendance at such events. It's all these gods, all these, you know, Greek gods, deities, false deities. You know, that's the encouragement of all of that. But anyway, I saw on the news the kids, and they were marching in a parade, and my heart just went out. You know that gate is wide. You know, the wide is the gate to destruction. And I look at those kids, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, they're born into this, you know. I'm not going to say they didn't really have a choice, but I mean, they kind of didn't. They just grew up in this. And you know what y'all put in my heart as I thought that and as I was praying? He said Abraham was born into this. Abraham. You know, and you can look back in the book of Jasher, chapter 11, and you can see how Abraham's father was an idol worshiper. Abraham's father was an idol worshiper. And Abraham, he despised all of those gods. He knew who God was. And he set his heart and mind to destroy all of his father's gods. And he is who many refer to as the father of our faith. So the very father of our faith was born into this type of chaos, this Babylon, this worship of all manner of foolishness. He was born into that. And so really what y'all was telling me was, we don't have any excuse. We don't have any excuse. It's not like Abraham was born in this perfect situation, you know, where, you know, he didn't experience any of what we experienced. He grew up in it. His father, Terah, was an idol worshiper. And he, you know, he despised it. He destroyed his dad's idols. And he became the father of our faith. He is what Yah chose, you know, to be our example. Our example. So, you know, a little bit more king cake. King cake is a part of Mardi Gras. And it is pretty much just a pastry. It's just, to me, it's just nothing but a big old cinnamon roll. But it's the intent. You know, first of all, who is this king? What is king cake? Who is the king that they talking about, you know? And, you know, it has a baby in there. And for years, I used to ask people, well, who is the baby in the cake? And nobody could tell me. So before doing this video, I Googled, what is the significance of the king cake? And Google had the nerve to give me a response like it was the three magi who went to bring gifts to baby Jesus, and the baby is Jesus. Seriously, Google? That baby is not Jesus. You worshiping other gods. You parading Bacchus down the street. You parading the Druids, all the Olympia, Nemesis, Fin Fatale, Chaos, Knights of Chaos, Knights of Babylon. How you gonna tell me that's Jesus in that cake? I'm not eating that. I'm not eating that. That makes me think of Daniel. You know how when they were captured and you know, it was like they were supposed to be eating the king's food. And Daniel determined in his heart that he was not going to defile himself by eating from the king's meat and wine, because he knew that that meat had been sacrificed to pagan gods. And he refused. He said, just give me, what did they say in the word? I think they used the word pulp, but it means vegetables. He said, just give me the vegetables. You know, that's how I feel about king cake. It's too easy to substitute king cake. Like I said, all it is a big cinnamon roll. You know, if you want that, just get a cinnamon roll. But don't get no king cake, because that king cake very much gives, you know, those hot cross buns that they talk about that the people used to make to Mary, the Queen of Heaven. I don't see no difference between king cake and that. I don't see any difference between, I mean, it's a part of the idol worship is what it is. And just everything about it. So, I mean, my whole thing, that is really all I wanted to say, honestly. I just wanted to get on here and talk to some Hebrew Israelite or somebody who is trying to be in the way, somebody who is on the path, and just, you know, how are you making it through Mardi Gras? How are you doing? Are you resisting? Let me tell you, I know if you live in a place that celebrates it, it is not easy to get away from, but just stay strong. Stay strong. You know, when that day of judgment comes, that little bit of fun that you had is not going to be worth it. It's not going to be worth it. So that's all I had. That's all I had. I love y'all. And, you know, you want to tell us some of the experiences you may have had, some revelation concerning Mardi Gras, all of it, just drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear it. And that's it. Until next time, bye.